Welcome back. In our spotlight this morning, the Arizona father who will soon go on trial for the hot car death of his little girl. Now we're learning Christopher Scholtes has a history of child abuse complaints that he allegedly referred to an older child of his as a mistake. Scholtes is accused of leaving his 2-year-old daughter Parker in a hot car for hours last July while he was watching porn and playing video games. He's charged with first-degree murder for Parker's death, and his defense team has filed a motion to try to delay the trial, but the judge said no. Here's Scholtes talking to officers right after Parker was discovered in the car.
How long was she sleeping in the car out there?
I want to say it was no more than 30, 45 minutes. And I don't think their air was off that entire time. I think there was a time in between. I had checked on her last. It was still running. She was still sleeping. And then when I went back out, the car was off.
Records from Arizona's Department of Child Safety show a history of child abuse complaints made against Scholtes that date back 11 years. They involve an older daughter of his. Now, this daughter is not from his current wife. DCS reports ranging from 2014 to the year 2020 show that Scholtes was accused of slapping the child, leaving bruises on the child, and failing to help the girl manage her diabetes. Now, all of these complaints were ruled unsubstantiated, but the child did move to the care of her birth mother. Let's talk about this. Let's bring back in former homicide prosecutor Melba Pearson. Welcome in the former Georgia director of the Department of Children and Family Services. He's also an attorney, Tom Rawlings. Tom, let me start with you on this, please. What do you make of these unsubstantiated claims that were brought against Chris Scholtes?
Honestly, I've read and I'm not sure why they were unsubstantiated. This is a long history of abuse against children. This man, if we licensed parents, he would never have been able to care for a child. And there's some really good organizations, especially in Arizona, doing good work. The Center for the Rights of Abused Children in Arizona is one of the best in the country. It really, to me, it looks like part of the issue here is that Arizona DCS, over the course of a number of years, just really failed to see that this guy was a danger to children and should not have been able to have custody of children, because this is the kind of thing that happens when you have people who are negligent, or even, I think in his case, allegations were physically abusive against children. It's really sad.
Right. Boy, Tom, appreciate your insight on that. Chris Scholtes told officers that he left his daughter Parker in the car because she was asleep. Let's take a listen to that clip.
She was sleeping in the car, and I had the car on. But it has a sensor where every 30 minutes or so it'll turn off if you haven't moved. I swore she was in the house playing with her sisters like she always does.
Okay, Melba, let's talk about whether we may see a plea deal here. So apparently his attorney made a comment that his client might be open to settlement before the trial begins. We know that he declined a plea offer to second-degree murder. Do you think there's some room for resolution here?
I think there is, because he's pretty much in trouble if he goes to trial. I don't see a scenario where he's going to be found not guilty, because common sense would dictate if your child is asleep, it is hot outside, you don't leave your child in the car. Like, you take the child into the house where they can sleep in their bed or in their crib or whatever the case may be. So I don't see any reasonable juror saying, oh, okay, what he did was reasonable. It doesn't make sense at all. So I see a conviction in his future. So it's either going to be the slow way by going to trial and getting a conviction at the end, or the faster way where he actually takes a plea and avoids going to trial.
Sure. I have another clip of him. This is body camera footage of him at the scene talking with the officers.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't want to feel like we're intruding, but we're going to have to stand by with you for a while. All right.
Is there a reason why?
So any death we have to treat like a crime scene. I know this is extremely difficult for you. This is a normal process that we have to follow through with. I don't want you to be blindsided by anything, but that's what's going to be going on for right now, okay?
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my...
Not at all. I know that.
Tom Rawlings, I want your reaction to that video we just watched. What do you think, please?
Julie, I've dealt with many cases in which parents made the mistake of forgetting their child was in a car, okay? This guy intentionally left his little child in a car in July in Arizona, and then plays the victim. It's sort of like the guy who kills his parents and then says, "How can you charge me? I'm an orphan." I don't know if he's just that sociopathic or whether he simply is just too stupid to know what he's doing. Honestly, this is the kind of situation where I really don't understand why this guy was ever allowed to be around a child. This is one of the worst cases of all. It's not even an accident. He intentionally left that child in the car so he can go apparently drink and watch porn, and then he's surprised at the results.
Great points, Tom. Melba, when we think about this too, I'd love to talk to you about intentionality and the prosecution's perspective here, what to offer him. We know they were willing to say plead to second degree. He rejected that. Do you think it would be reasonable for them to go lower here, perhaps a voluntary manslaughter offer or something that's going to require a hefty period of incarceration, perhaps somewhat of a hybrid with a lengthy period of probation to follow? What do you think would be most reasonable to get justice for this little girl, and also recognize fairness and interests of justice in coming to an agreement, if at all possible?
Of course, Julie. I mean, I could say if I was the prosecutor in this case, I would not go lower than second-degree murder. I don't see any reason to do so. The evidence is strong. The evidence is clear. As my colleague just stated, there are cases, I believe there was one out of Georgia, where the gentleman left the child in the car and went on the train and went to work, and literally was at work and was like, oh my gosh, I think I left my child in the car, and freaked out, tried to come back and rectify it, and unfortunately the child passed away. So that to me is more of a situation where, okay, manslaughter or something along those lines, because there's a genuine error that occurred there, right? And sometimes, we may have a lot of things in your mind. I could see how that happens. But this was intentional. He knew the temperature. He knew his child was in the car. He knew the danger his child was facing, and yet he picked his own narcissistic needs over the needs of his child. There is no permutation, Julie, that I would be giving him. I mean, they're better than me. I probably wouldn't have gone lower than first-degree murder. He could have pled to that first, and we could have, talked about the time. But if it was me, he's pleading to that first. But be that as it may, plead a second, but I would say not any lower than that. Not any lower than that.
I hear you, Melba. Excellent points you're making. Yeah, this guy, it looks to me like he's probably going to have to go to trial. I mean, it just, and as you both have said, these prosecutors have every reason to be confident in their case. It's him who should be worried. I thought he should have thanked them. I thought second degree would be a generous offer and move forward, but he's not my client, not my case, but we'll report any developments, and we're tracking this trial. We will be filming it when the time comes. Great talk with you both as always. Melba Pearson, thank you. Tom Rawlings, thank you. We'll see you both very soon.